The other day, and by the other day I mean the last 3 weeks, I was feeling, kind of down. And you know what they say? The best way to cure depression is to get on Twitter. Avatar Legends had an open beta going on. People played the game and were saying the combos were too difficult. And as usual, the FGC lost their minds. If you don't know, in the FGC, saying something is too difficult in a fighting game is basically akin to insulting their religion. They take it very, 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 very personally. This argument is as old as the damn dinosaurs, and just like most debatable topics, neither side really understands the other, nor wants to. I myself have had long discussions with people in both camps, and as an avid enjoyer of fighting games, I would like to give my take on this situation. So here's the truth. Fighting games have the weirdest barrier to entry of any gaming genre that I played. Notice how I said weirdest barrier to entry and not the hardest barrier of entry. And look, it's not a secret that most gamers have a hard time getting into fighting games. But we never stop to ask, why is that? The FGC usually just kind of blanket statement oversimplifies the thing by just answering saying people are lazy. Are they right in saying this? No. Well, people are inherently lazy, but I don't think that's the real reason that fighting games aren't being played more in mainstream. At least not the only reason. There's a lot of info that you need to play most fighting games at just a basic level, but I don't think it's the amount of information that's necessarily the problem. It's how it's obtained and things in fighting games just not making much sense in terms of how they work, making obtaining that information even harder. For one, the main way you learn fighting games most of the time is in training mode, which for most people is boring as hell. Like me myself, I love labbing as much as the next person. Like I'm just a total nerd when it comes to that, especially if I like a game. Like I really love a game. But when I first started playing, I had no idea what I was doing. Like you have to learn how to learn things in fight. Like I don't know how to describe. Like you have to learn how to use training mode before you even learn how to play the game. I mean, I know fighting game players that struggle to use training mode, so I can only imagine how hard it is for the average gamer. Not to mention, there's like a decent amount of fighting games that just have shitty training modes with lacking features and all that. But for fighting game players, that part of the game, those barriers to entry are what make fighting games special to us or like what we enjoy. But to the average gamer, like I said, is just, for lack of a better term, a waste of time. And then on top of that, there's certain things and or moves in fighting games that don't really make much sense in terms of how they work. Like they're really not intuitive. For example, and I'm using this as an example, I'm not shitting on the game. So I'm going to say that before I say this because I know people are going to come at me in the comments over that. Regardless, this right here is the dust attack in Guilty Gear Strive. Now, what about the animation of this move would make you think, this looks like an overhead. Like I should stand block this move. The attack doesn't start in the air or doesn't have an animation with the character coming down with an attack, right? So it doesn't your brain doesn't tell you, hey, you should stand block this move, right? It starts from the ground and goes up. It's animated more like an uppercut. Again, this is not me shitting on Strive. This is just me using it as an example. And I'm sure there's a reason to why the dust attack is like that. Do I agree with it? No, but it's just like, one of those things that doesn't really make much sense to the average gamer, or wouldn't really make much sense to the average gamer at first glance. But here's the point I'm trying to make. I remember when fighting games finally clicked for me, and I haven't stopped playing them since. That moment of when you realize, like, oh, this is why, like, how fighting games are played, and this is the reason people play them, is like when you actually start to play those games. Like, you land a setup you lab for hours, or a combo, or you finally beat someone that you've been trying to beat forever, like or you study your replays and learn from them. Those moments culminating into like an achievement of sorts in game against another person is why people play fighting games, right? But most people never get to that point because of these barriers. Again, you can chalk it up to people being lazy. Yes, people are lazy, inherently lazy, okay? And some people, no matter how many of these barriers you either remove or modify, are never going to play fighting games, okay? That's just the way it is. I acknowledge that, of course. I'm not stupid. But I can't help but feel that, like, these barriers are holding people back that could potentially play fighting games for a long time and actually be pretty good at them. For us fighting game players, all this seems normal, but for other gamers, though, they just see it as a nuisance. But it's hard for me to say that we should remove these barriers or modify them or whatever, because these barriers are kind of what make the genre, like what make fighting games fighting games. So it's like, I don't know, like, can you remove those barriers or modify them without taking away what makes fighting games, but still keeping the core? I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. I'm rambling now. But to end this all off, FGC, next time you jump to call someone lazy because they say fighting games are too hard, think about why they're saying that. And for both parties, let's try not to shit on one another because of what you guys like or dislike playing. I know that's a long shot because of the internet, but hey, we can dream. Whatever. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Don't know when my next video is coming out. Don't ask me. Don't know. Don't care. I'm trying to survive out here like everyone else. So, yeah. I'll see y'all when I see y'all, probably in the next like year or so. And hope you guys drink some water, kiss your mom, dap up your father. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.